Honor to present to you, in memory of Mama Zogby, the author of The Sibyls.
When the Roman Church began to rise as an imperialistic power against Judaism, because by that time the mixed-race Jews, who had more knowledge and they were more grounded in the ancient Kemetic tradition, Hebrew tradition as well, they had more knowledge, and it was sacerdotal power that ruled. Always keep that in mind. It wasn't just military. It was sacerdotal. Whoever held divine power held the power of the world. And in order to get that, you had to show that by seizing or occupying that temple or that throne or whatever. Well, they needed to usurp that from the Sibyls, because the Jews were gaining more ground, especially in West Africa and in Greece. And so they, under Constantine, he destroyed the temples. In the book of Revelation, you hear about the 7 temples. Those were the Sibyl temples. They weren't Christian churches. Christianity, in fact, our tradition lingered so strong throughout the ancient world up to 500 years after the death of this person they call Christ. After. There was no way to destroy it, because it was the original power, period. And nothing preceded it, nothing. You have a corruptions of it. But 500 years after. But those 7 temples are the civil temples that were usurped by them. So there they took them in all throughout Turkey, the tiny empire. They took all of that under Constantine and Theodosius, the military arm of Rome, general of Rome. They took her temples.
Yo, word is bond. Ashe. Peace to all of the goddesses and to all the gods. Now this build, we're going to talk about the inception of time. We're going to talk about the mothers of all existence, the mother of creation. We're going to talk about the daughters of those same mothers. This build is going to be about the prophetesses, other known as the Sibyls. From the cosmos to each and every dimension and reality and existence, they are the most powerful beings, otherwise known as 9 ether goddesses. The first beings to inhabit this planet were women, aka goddesses, whose story was buried. The woman, the melanated woman, is the most degraded woman on the earth, especially from America. And although I don't really trust everything off the internet, we're going to clean it up. We're going to put some truth to it. A Sibyl is a prophetess or a seer, a woman in ancient Greece, aka Tamiri, which is America, and Rome, believed to possess prophetic or divinatory powers. The term originates from the ancient Greek word Sibylla, meaning prophetess. There were several Sibyls in ancient times, each associated with different locations and known for their oracles and prophecies. Sibyls were believed to be priestesses or prophetesses who could communicate with the gods and foretell the future. These goddesses were known for their prophecies, often delivered in ecstatic frenzy. So, what they mean by ecstatic frenzy? So, the goddess, some goddesses, some psychic, some people who receive these transmissions, right? They go into a transcendental state, right? Which their body could shake, that's what they call speaking through in tongues, but it's actually light language or light code transmissions from the higher realms, from the overself, from the Zohar, from the higher selves and the higher beings in different realms that they're getting the information from, their downloads, channeling. Ancient Egypt had its own form of divination and prophecy, often involving priests, priestesses, and other religious officials, aka spiritual officials. In ancient days, these same witches or goddesses, right, melanated women, were literally demonized, castigated from society, from the world. We hear about the Moors and the Murs and all these other beings, but we don't hear about their mothers. What about their mothers, right? These are the Amazonians, right? These are the goddesses that reign supreme way before any god did, right? The Draconians, these evil, wicked beings, all usurp the divine feminine energy, right? But at the end of the day, they still worship, they still go by the divine order of the Great Mother, even though these beings are inverting her teachings, inverting her magic. It is still the magic, the 720 degrees of the goddess, right? That is even allowing this existence to even partake, for it to even be conscious and aware of itself, is through the womb of the great goddess of these goddesses, right? The nine-ether melanated goddess, right? They are master healers, master alchemists, can talk to the dead. A goddess can see the dead and can bring the dead back, right? Through their mitochondrial gene, which powers and gives all life to every cell in the body on a molecular level and on a cellular level, as well as the subatomic level. This attack is truly on the womb, right? The womb holds all the memories of the cosmos, right? The Amazonians held codes, right? These melanated women were here before all the genetic splicing started occurring, right? With the Anunnaki, before the war even came to the Milky Way galaxy in the 18th galaxy, right? The goddesses were here literally putting together planetary alignments with the ley lines, right? They used to call them dragon lines. You understand? That's where you get Tiamat, the dragon mother. Now in modern day time, the veins of planet Earth, in which all energy centers are on, they call them ley lines now instead of dragon lines. You see how they always just take away from the Great Mother's word, which is the word of God, Medu Neter. Instances like when the Anunnaki came to Tiamat to mine for gold, guess who they saw? Ethereal goddesses, right? Same when Columbus came, sailed the ocean blue, right? They saw Amazonians, warrior goddesses. You have to understand all of these goddesses literally hold the primordial energy, right, of the source, of the all, of the oneness in their womb, right? Structure ether, cymatic frequencies, right? Illuminating the entire planetary grid with their energy, right? Illuminating the entire galaxy, the entire cosmos with their divine, feminine, and masculine energies, right? The goddesses were here way before any god was created. They actually created the gods by splicing, mutating their own X chromosome to turn into a Y chromosome and gave it to the gods, right? As the counterpart, right? The wisdom that's being channeled from the goddesses and the gods now are literally codes that were passed down from the great cosmic mother to the goddesses on the planet right now, right? To the elves on the planet right now, right? Through the elemental forces of nature. But you have to understand, we get all of our codes from the womb. You have to understand, most of the sibyls or prophetesses are still in Tamiri, which is modern day America, right? Or the Americas in general, right? Some moved underground, like the witches from the ancient days that were hunted down. They even wrote a book about it, right? Called The Witch's Hammer. Right, they used to literally hunt these goddesses down. They still do, but the goddess is not going for that shit right now, right? You see the return of the resurrection of the goddesses here. The goddess is ancient, mystical goddess, holds memories, right? They hold wisdom from Tiamat, the great dragon mother. There's always been a war on snakes. That's why they demonize the snake. The snake represents the goddess or the prophetesses, right? You hear the S in prophetess and goddess, priestess. That is the S, symbolizes the snake, right? Which is the 13th zodiac, Ophiuchus. The goddess lost memory, not power, right? You have to understand, it was the spellbound nature of blood oaths from the gods, the priesthoods, the brotherhoods that had a lot to do with the goddess falling. It was the son going against the mother. We have to understand that and be real with ourselves. The rise of the divine feminine is here, family. Rise of the seven chakras, right? Which is symbolic to the seven wise ones, aka the seven sisters, the seven goddesses that were here, right? The sacerdotal mothers, ancient mothers in America, right? They control all energy in the trilateral sphere, which are different planes of existence, right? The spiritual realm, the mental plane, and the physical realm. The physical bodies go through the woman's womb, right? Allowed their power for a higher purpose to be desecrated, just to rise again, right? Like a butterfly, just for the resurrection. Jesus stole the story from Jesus, was stolen from Inanna and Ishtar, right? Black ancient goddess, melanated ancient goddess that went to the underworld, died 3 days and came back, right? The goddess is collected to the sphere that is recalibrating and terraforming the earth, family. Let's rise with her. Ashe, 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 divine mothers.